Okay, y'all. I am so sorry. It appears that my computer shut down in the middle of my recording, my first recording, and I am not going to give you the same kind of energy because I was almost done. And it didn't save. Okay. Um, Real Housewives of Atlanta. We're at season 15, episode 1. And I am covering the Speak on It with Kandi and the Carlos King interview that he did recapping this. So Carlos King was like super excited that Martell was front and center in this because he created the show that Martell is on. And Martell is on Love and Marriage Huntsville. And I think it's interesting because on the internet, there's a lot of people who watch Real Housewives of Atlanta who had no idea who Martell Holt was. And I thought that was pretty surprising because I assumed that a lot of people knew who he was because it seems like the same demographic would watch both. I was wrong. The same demographic does not watch both. So it appears that one demographic only really watches um so it's so it, since this has been happening 2 days ago, the internet has been going crazy because they have been like, let me explain to you how bad Martell is, like all that he has done. So, Sir Martell, you're not getting a clean slate. Us viewers who have watched both are like Real Housewives of Atlanta people. We want you to meet Love and Marriage Huntsville people. And we just want you to know that Martell is an attractive man that is only good for sex. Like he is not good for anything else. And because he's just not someone you build a life with. But because he's not going to stay faithful, not at this juncture. And if that's something that you're okay with, then go for it. But you know, so we start off this episode with with Martell and Sheree. Martell just finished doing an upscale um, magazine cover, and he comes over to Sheree's house, and I guess he stays there on the weekends. She's like, he's here on the weekends. She's like, I'm still open for love, and she's like, so wait, you love him? I didn't say all that. I was like, uh, you doing too much. At least be open to a situationship. That's it. Not love. Not with Martell. And then uh they are cooking together. But I will say this, Carlos thinks that there's chemistry between the two of them and they really, really like each other. I don't know if I buy that, but I do know this. This is what I do think, is that I think that there are two people who are really, really into their body, their physique. And I think that that is a good common match for them. She, Sheree has always been into her body and staying healthy and working out. And we saw that especially, since she came on, she wanted to do, there's so many ideas that Sheree wanted to do that never happened. And one of them was a workout video. And then Phaedra went ahead and released a workout video. And it was like the donkey booty video. And it's like, ma'am, Sheree is body goals. Kenya made a comment saying, which is kind of shady, talking about, Martell, everybody who's around Martell gets pregnant, so she don't want him to be around, but Sheree can't have a baby, so there's that. Her period stopped. And I mean, that's an age dig. I do think that Sheree is probably too old for him. That's all I'm gonna say. The second thing, okay, so then they're supposed to have dinner. Then they make these little comments because Kandi called him an opportunist, which he is. And so he's upset that she called him an opportunist, and it's like, oh well. And then he's like, well, an opportunist is your husband. Kandi's husband is not an opportunist. Kandi's husband is able to work in the field because he's been working in the field. He has a production agency. He's qualified and capable. You, sir, since your wife left you and divorced you, have not been able to work in your field. You know why? Because you can't pass the builder's license, the builder's test. We've had 3 seasons of you trying to pass the builder's test on Love and Marriage Huntsville, and you are completely unsuccessful. If Marceau helps you pass this builder's test, I mean, you need to give him more than just workout lessons. You need to give him a percentage. You need to pay him. You need to give him a cut. You need to give him a toast. You need to give him a bottle of your clear through wine. You need to do something significant, because that is a feat that all these other people were unable to do. I thought it was kind of strange, and I didn't know how to think about this. She made a comment about the OnlyFans, and I was like, Sheree, would you really do an OnlyFans with Martell? That is the quintessential definition of an opportunist. And I'm thinking that even Martell has higher decency and morals. Anyway, what happens next? Okay, so Kandi and her crew starts talking at her office. They're going to do Kandi Coded Nights. I never watched it. I know it's YouTube. It was on Bravo. Either one, I never watched it. And Kenya and Mayetta. Now, Kandi makes a comment that on Kandi Coded, that on her Speak on It, she makes a comment saying that she doesn't hook anybody up with anybody now because there's nobody who's single in her surroundings. So that's a fair component, and I can understand that. I don't know, it's when you're kind of out of the scene of single people and mostly your people are kind of hooked up or something, you're not really trying to be like matchmakers. So I get all that. Mayetta is still the person who was able to do this matchmaking. Seems like Kenya is happy with this dude that she's hooked up with. Can't believe the divorce is still not finalized 4 years later. Seems like this is longer than the marriage. Kandi is emotional. She talks about on Kandi Coded Nights. No, she talks about on Speak on It that her husband and her have this kind of issue right now. And she gets into extreme detail on how they were supposed to handle this. And it just didn't happen. How handle doing this project together, and he feels that she's not as supportive of his projects as she is supportive of as he is supportive of hers. And we see later in the episode that during family time, he's trying to do this, going over a production meeting about this movie. And she's like, it's family time. And I was like, I agree with her to an extent, but the problem that I think I have is that it's a bit hypocritical, because you work so much that he's supposed to kind of drop everything when he's in the meeting for family time, because it fits into your time that you have when it comes to family time. I think that that's a bit much. But I also say that I don't appreciate the criticism that people are having about Kandi in regards to her son, because her son calls and she's just like, yeah, I'm working right now, so I can't help you with your homework and stuff like that. And I feel like she's had a girl before, and you raise your girls to be so independent, but with your boys, they seem to be so codependent on their moms for so long. And like my son is so codependent on me, it's ridiculous. And on my mother. My mother's even worse than I am, but I mean, he would live in my skin if I let him. So he's this whole, like, my son is this whole, you're going to work. I don't want you to go to work. I want to go with you. I want to be with you all the time. And I think it's cute. It doesn't make me feel guilty because I work a lot. But yeah. It doesn't make me feel guilty for working. As much as I do. But and so I kind of got annoyed when Carlos King was like, well, I'm a mama's boy, but your mom stayed home, a stay-at-home mom. And it broke my heart. And I was like, okay, you putting 10 on 20. And then when, oh my gosh, what is her name? Um, 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 Marlo made a comment about it. I was just like, about how she needs to stay at home with her kids, and yeah, you doing too much, especially when you just became guardian of these boys not that long ago. So you need to stop. And then I also was concerned. And then Kenya made a comment like, take it from somebody, take my advice. You need to always make time for your husband. Yeah, okay. Hey, that's not the advice that she needs. The advice is, how are you capable of balancing your schedule? And she's trying to balance the schedule. And the idea is that maybe a conversation is better advice. The conversation would be to kind of have a sit down and kind of begin to start prioritizing what he thinks would be a priority, what you think is a priority, and how can we blend this? There can be some things that may not be able to take precedence at this point, but you need to be moving things off the thing. Now that you have your Tony nomination, which that did not age well, when Marlo's trying to shade Kandi, talking about the play thing and the music thing is not working out. I'm sorry. She has Emmys. The music thing worked out. The singing thing worked out. And now she's Tony nominated. That worked out. And now she's Emmy nominated. So that worked out. Ma'am, how is your company of renting clothes? And where's your house? I don't like people throwing stones And because I think the issue is that you don't know what to throw stones at. Marlo did an interview talking about how um, she's so perfect, she doesn't want to show her life. So now we're just going to be upset that she has a perfect life. Ma'am, make better choices. Big. Fast forward. Okay, so Kenya brings up this whole, let me tell you that Marcel was calling me, hit me in my DMs because he was trying to talk, low key talk to me. First of all, you don't even know what the message said because you never accepted the message. When you don't accept a message on Instagram, you don't get to see what the message is about until after you accept the message on Instagram. So I cannot, yes, he did slid into the DMs, but we don't know what the DM was. And so I don't know how that is low key trying to talk to me, but you're making drama where there wasn't one. And then she does tell Sheree at the party that just want you to know that he did slide into my DMs as a pathway to what you're doing is you're trying to let her know so that, create drama for the show. Fine, create drama for the show. That's all we need. But do I think we know that Martell for sure slid into her DMs. Do we think that he was trying to get with her? I doubt it. But I don't think that Martell would try to get with someone who is also in the middle of a divorce. I do think it's kind of interesting that people were like, oh, I don't think he'd want, I think it's Carlos. I don't think he'd want to really get married right now because he's just dealing out of a divorce. I disagree. And Marceau and Maurice asked him point blank, you want to get married in another, and Martel's like, yeah, I want to get married within the year. And trying to talk about proposing to somebody. You're proposing to who? I could never. The idea of being on a national television show, having the dude that I'm dating on a national television show, talking about proposing to people, chasing after your ex-wife, and barely mentioning your side chick. So all the women that he's dealing with, the side chick, Sheree, can sit back and watch this show talking about he wants to marry somebody in a year and he's chasing after his ex-wife. And somehow I'm supposed to feel what? Like you would just got to let this go because he is so disrespectful. And he's going to come back to you and say, it's not everybody's business. It's just about between me and you. Like he's going to talk his way into that. And I'm going to tell you, I dated somebody off and on who starting in college, and he was like, I don't want to have a label. Oh, and up until I found out that he had some other chick pregnant, when we got back to, we didn't talk for some years. And then when we started kind of like talking and stuff, this man would invite me to things. I didn't know that these things would happen, events would happen. He was literally inviting me to events. I wasn't just popping up like I'm possessed, like I'm an obsessed person, but he would invite me to his frat brother's house when they would have a hangout, frat parties, like all of these small intimate get-togethers, massive intimate larger get-togethers. And I'm thinking back at one event where some woman called him out. And I was just standing there like, me and my friend were standing there like, what's going on? Because I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, what's going on? Called him out and was like, and then so he pulled them to the side and was talking to them about, whatever. And while they're talking, I was just like, ooh, whatever. And I just went to my car Me and my friend went to my car, and she was also sorry sister. We went to my car, and here he comes after me. All the while, I did not, unbeknownst to me, he got a chick pregnant. And he's talking about, I don't want labels. Right. And I was like, how bold is it that you invite me to your dude's house, your fraternity brother's house, have a party, all up under me, like all up under me. You've been under me, all up under me often. I mean, when you see me, right? And the last time I saw him, it was at a funeral, I would say about 7 years ago. And all he could do was just stare, because I was just like, I have nothing to say to you. We have nothing to talk about. And I mean, we existed at the funeral. And I mean, I acknowledge his line brother, and me and him hugged it out like we good. But I was like, we have nothing to talk about. And I say all that is just like this labels. And I can see him doing that. I don't want to be public in the labels. Like, that's why anyone who cannot put a name on it, who's unwilling to do this murkiness, you're messy. At this point, especially now at our, I'm not the same age as, I think I'm older than Martell, but I'm definitely not as old as Sheree. At Sheree's big age, you should be like, you either define me or you don't. I am not your side chick's baby's mama who can still live in the shadows for all amount of time and then just start, and then maybe hoping one day that he may pull you out of the shadow and put a ring on it. He won't. Like, I just cannot wrap my head around Sheree at all. So, with that being said, um, anyway, I don't know. I'm sorry I got off track. Let's get to oh yeah. All the people in the house. Okay. I understand why all the people are in the house. I'm gonna tell you why. To me, it makes sense why all the people are in the house. Because she needed everybody, right? And so she needed all of these additional folks. And so I'm like, okay, this works. You needed everybody, right? So you needed everybody. I'm trying to look at for the cast and stuff. Sonia. Sonia needed all of these people. You needed your sister does the hair. Okay, so you got a sister who does the hair, you got a brother and her husband can be the assistant, and you have like your mom and dad are your managers, so everybody's eating off your plate. And so it's better if you guys come as a combination living in the same house. I get all that, but now it's time for them to move. How about you do this? Live next door to me. Get a back house like Kandi. She has 2 houses, right? So somebody can live next door. Like I need for you not to be in my space like this. The sister, first of all, the sister and the brother complaining that you give him too many things. I'm like, I'm sorry. All of the things that you line down, that's what an assistant is called. The definition of an assistant. or all of those things. Sonia spent $100,000 on this party. I think she did it just because it's on television and she looked cheap last time. Everybody talked about her, talking about, oh, this party is a lot better than last time. So the shade. And oh, it's not yet a candy party, but it's a party. Okay. Everybody's shading you. I'm here for it. Moving on. This new girl that I don't even know. It's not that I don't know. No, I don't know. I don't care. That gets into this fight with Kandi at the party. I am fully aware now. Kandi made a comment on this show that on her speak on it why she got upset. She's like, wait a second, y'all been talking about me, you've been planning to confront me. And so therefore and when she said that, I was like, I could totally see her sitting back, like, look, you could see her going back and forth in her eyes. And she's like, oh, so y'all had a talk about this and I'm the one who's getting centered on today. And so then you saw her pop off. Okay, I'm here for it. That pop off makes sense when she explains why she popped off. That girl did way too much over nothing. And you saw her husband standing off like, you saw Todd. How far is this going to go? And then he's going to smooth in. And it's a to be continued, really, because the to be continued is going to surmount to the fact that people are making rumors that he's doing the do with other people in Atlanta. And everybody's coming over to try to confront RHOA about, oh, he's doing the do with Atlanta. And then it's Kenya, he slid into my DMs. And then now you bring him over and we're going to have this big blowout. I'm going to say the problem that I have with this is that this is not a conversation you have at a party. This is a conversation that you talk the next day and we all get up and we all meet up and, girl, let me show you what this man did. Oh, girl, let me show you. Let me show you what he did. Let me show you. Let me, that's what you do. You don't do this the day of. It's, oh, girl. Oh, girl, let me show you. I want you to see what he did. I just want you to know, like, that's what you do. You don't do this at the party. And girl, and then, I mean, real talk, what is she supposed to say? If they're not in a committed relationship as of yet, and if she's just, even if they're in the dating phase, like, there's no definition. Yeah, we're dating. She didn't, I mean, I think it was presumptuous that they said boyfriend at the bottom of the video. What she's really saying is that they're dating. So what's the problem? If he's driving up on different days to meet up with some other chick, okay. Oh, hey. I mean, the man is capable of sleeping with two women on the same day, his wife and the side chick. He had two women pregnant at the same time, multiple times. One time, the side chick had an abortion. The other time, male had an abortion, once or twice. The point is, and then you had within months, that your two youngest children are months apart. So what? I'm sure she knows what she's getting. I just don't think that I just think they could have presented this better. Girl, don't get too caught up in it, because I'm sure he's screwing Jane Fonda. Jane Fonda. I'm trying not to do. I'm trying to um who you calling? Who you want to be hugging? Looking on to Honda with Tanisha Wanda. What? That's what he's doing. There we go. And I could have said it clearer, but I got Invisalign in my mouth. Anyway, um, I'm done. I will see you later today for Real Housewives of New Jersey. And if it ain't the wedding, I am going to freaking scream. It has got to be the wedding. Like, I mean, it has got to be this wedding. Anyway, I'll see you later. Bye.